We have some more leaks about the Hillary Clinton camp from John Podesta's emails here, and we have further evidence that they view Bernie as some sort of kook. So this is, of course, from the WikiLeaks document dump here. They say about Bernie, this is when, of course, they're trying to defeat him in the primary. They say, extreme on national security, quote, Bernie Sanders' extreme views would gut America's national security and make us less safe. Sanders ran for Congress calling for the military budget to be cut by more than half and spending the money on major electrified rail system instead. Okay, so they go on to describe here how he's ideologically committed to military cuts. To the point where he says, you know, we shouldn't spend on the military even if it does create jobs. And they continue to lampoon him for daring to take the position of, maybe we could cut the thing and cut it substantially. Now, why is it that Bernie Sanders argues this? Is it because he's extreme? He's extreme on national security, and he wants you to be less safe, and he doesn't care about jobs. That's why he's saying it. Really? Or maybe he's saying it because of this. Yeah. For everybody listening and they can't see this on the screen, it is the discretionary budget and what we spend our money on. Over 50%. Over half of our discretionary spending goes to the military. I wonder why Bernie Sanders is okay with cutting it by more than half. Even if you cut it by more than half, it would be a gigantic amount of discretionary spending. So, and look, this is something that I've said. This is something I think Bernie Sanders agrees with. The idea that, dude, if you even want the U.S. to still be the most powerful military on earth, fine. I'm fine with that. As long as we're using that military for defensive reasons and not offense, not like the Bush doctrine, fine. Have a big military. But you can still cut it by over 50% and have the biggest military in the world by a mile. So, you know, we've shown the other charts too. You have the U.S. spending more on military than the next 11 countries combined. And most of those countries are our allies. So, what does that show you? It shows we're just spending way too much. We have over 800 military bases around the world. We spend $100 billion every single year just for upkeep on those bases. Meanwhile, we can't get clean fucking water in Flint. We can't get clean water in a bunch of places around the U.S. Our infrastructure gets a grade of D. We're falling apart here at home. We have 45,000 people that die every year because they don't have access to basic health care. And people are going, yeah, $100 billion to have bases in random places. Look, you can cut those by half too. And, you know, we'd still, by far and away, be the most dominant on the planet, still spend the most on the military, still have the kind of control that, you know, everybody seems to want in Washington. And we'd have more resources for here at home. So Bernie comes along and dares to say the most obvious thing to anybody who knows the numbers. And they malign him as some sort of an extreme person, as some sort of a radical. No. You know who the radical is? You are, Hillary Clinton. You're the radical. Your campaign is radical. The neocons and the neoliberals are radical. It's a radical idea to want to be involved in 7 different countries. Under Obama, supposedly liberal Democratic president, we've had 7 different interventions. 7! That's crazy. Under Bush, we had fewer. Now, for Bush, they were like full-scale wars where there was a ground invasion and occupation and everything. So he went further in that respect. But Obama does soft imperialism. While Bush did out-and-out imperialism, Obama says, okay, you know what? In some places, we do drone strikes. In some places, we do traditional airstrikes. In some places, we put special ops on the ground, a small number here and there, and let them take care of stuff. But it's still 7 different interventions. By the way, Congress didn't approve the overwhelming majority of them, and they just tack it on to a different approval. So, which is actually unconstitutional if anybody actually cares to follow it. But what that shows is the choices are soft imperialism versus imperialism. That's the Democratic Party. That's the Republican Party. Bernie comes along and says, yeah, how about no? How about we do neither of those? We use our military for defensive reasons, and I don't know, we take a little more than half of that budget, which is gigantic and wasteful, and we spend it on ourselves. They take that issue and they say, we got a winner here. No, you don't. I dare you. That's an issue where you want to attack him, he'll eat your fucking lunch. And they didn't. They couldn't do a good job attacking him on that in the primary because he's right. But that shows you the kind of thinking that happens in these Democratic establishment circles. They agree far too much with the Republicans, and that's the problem.